Here we are doing another little project. These are projects which are centered around customers' trees. I have customers who bring many trees to me because they do not know what to do with the trees. They buy them as bonsai either from our nursery or from other nurseries, and they lose control of the tree, and the tree completely befuddles them. As a result, they sometimes get so unkempt that they are no longer bonsai. This gentleman has brought this very nice juniper to me because he felt that it was getting out of control and he didn't know what to do with it. So let me take you through my thought process and visualize what I can see can be done to improve this tree. I know that I'm not the world's greatest expert, I do admit that, but I'm here to make bonsai friendly to you. My object is to make bonsai accessible and not intimidating. We have very beautiful trees here on the nursery. I work mainly on maple trees, but I sometimes do work on junipers and pines. And because maples and other deciduous trees, the demonstration is simply cutting branches off and regrowing branches. I do not often perform on maples because they are a very long-term project. But if you look around our nursery, there are a lot of maples, but we also have lots of conifers as well. So I'm delighted to be working on conifers for a change. And here we have this lovely Itoigawa juniper. The way I look at most of these trees before I start is to turn the tree around. And the fundamental principle of analyzing the trees is to see which is the front and which is the back. The front is usually the side that has the trunk visible, and the tree should lean slightly towards you. So this gentleman, I think very correctly, has told me that he uses this as the front. Okay, there's a branch here which hides a bit of the trunk line, but he uses this as the front, and I don't think this is a bad decision. What I need to do with this tree is to open it out more so that there are spaces between the branches. So this is what the aim is, to create spaces and pads so that you can see through the different layers and levels of the tree. Okay, so if I do this, I can easily wire these and get spacing, but I have a problem with this branch, so whether to remove this or not is the big question. And if I were to wire this, would it be effective? I did turn the tree around. Sometimes you should also look at the side to see if the side is possible front, but I don't think this is a possible front. But if I turn the tree this way, just take the customer's label off. This is also a very interesting front. So usually what is the back could also be the front. The trunk line is as interesting, and in fact I think what he regarded as the front could turn out to be the back and vice versa. So this was his back, and if I use this as the front, I would still get a much better arrangement of branches. The branches are also coming out like this, so this might be better. You see, these two branches are disposed like that, and this one may be difficult to turn it this way. I could change the front slightly and use this as a branch without removing it. And also, there's a possibility of using this as the apex because it is also leaning slightly if I regard this branch as the new apex. So I would prefer to use what he regarded as the back as the front. As I've often said in my book Bonsai Masterclass, you've got to keep an open mind. So don't be afraid to admit that you got it wrong. So what you may have thought was the front could end up as the back, but that's not a problem. So let's begin by doing some basic wiring to establish the bottom branches. By the way, we always work from the bottom upwards. Don't ask me why, but I think it's logical in effect, because if you work on the base, they are the major branches, and as you go higher up towards the top, it sorts itself out. The thinner branches at the top are subsidiary to the bottom ones. That's the way I look at it. Now, some of you wise guys may criticize me by saying, he's got a handlebar branch over here. You know, why does he use this handlebar branch? Well, I know that it is possible to perhaps use this one and remove this, because this is on the, not really at the elbow, and this is slightly on the inside. And then I can just use these two branches. But let's wire those two and see what happens. These very wispy thin branches I'm going to remove. A lot of people will criticize me for having a handlebar branch, but I'm not bothered because it gives it balance. If I were to remove one of these, the tree would look unbalanced. So sometimes we always say you need to just follow these guidelines. I don't call them rules. Don't follow them slavishly. They're only guidelines. They should not be treated as rules. So handlebar branch is quite okay in that situation. Now I'm going to, if I use this as the front, this branch is going that way, but I want to bring it this way, so I'll bend it this way. What I could do is change the front slightly like this. When I repot the tree, it could be plotted at this angle. So I'll use these two branches. They're very usable branches. So let's see what happens when we wire these two. You notice I'm trimming the tips all the time, because by trimming the tips I'm going to get a little more budding back. Otherwise the tree becomes very sparse and thin. These very thin branches, I think I will take it out. I don't think they're needed, so let's get over it. There you are. Open it out completely. Look at the beautiful trunk line now. You can see it quite clearly. And then we can make driftwood out of that. And then that little twig we can get rid of. Remember, less is more. Again, I keep taking the tips out so that I generate more growth in the old wood. There you are, you see the progressive wiring has created the tiers. Now this one is going to be a pad on its own, so I will see what I can do with this one. But again, you see there are 3 branches coming out from one point. I don't think I need all 3. So I might need to just take the center one out. This is where, if you're a bit timid, you can see I've already removed quite a lot of the foliage. This is a very useful tool. These brushes, this is a green nylon brush. You can also get a brass brush, which is more vicious, but just for the purposes of this, I will just show you what we do with this. Don't let too much moss grow around the trunk. He has encouraged a lot of moss to go here. It's best to remove some of the moss from time to time it's not nice to let the moss grow up the trunk. Yes, on the surface of the tree is fine, but up the trunk, not a good idea. See how much moss there is on the trunk. It can also cause the wood to rot easily. Usually with junipers, the bark should be removed. As the tree grows and the trunk swells, the old bark flakes off. And this is best removed with a little penknife rather than constantly scrub it. Take your time. You can remove every piece of bark like this. And the juniper bark is nice and red underneath. So use the knife first and then use the brush. Look at the lovely red bark underneath. See? So remove the old bark and then the red color will be revealed. So it's like going to the barbers and having your hair done. So this is how I've trimmed the tree, and now you can admire the beautiful trunk line. So this is the front, not this, but we're going to reposition it at this angle. But I will advise the owner of this tree to have it repotted next year. So there you are. Thank you very much.